What's going on, everybody? This is the Eagles Run with Quest 64, and today, man, I want to talk about the recent report that came out saying that Jalen Hurts and Sean Mannion, they're connected. Jalen Hurts is more open to changes than he ever has been in the past. So they say, right? Rumors, all of that stuff. I feel like Jalen Hurts has always been open to changes, but whatever, we're going to get into that. And also, I want to talk about the schedule leak that just came out a couple of days ago and where the Eagles look like, what teams are going to be playing, and where they got to slot it throughout the season, man. With that being said, let's get right into it. All right, so as you see here, John Clark put out this post on Facebook and all his other social media platforms earlier in the day, and it reads that Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts has really hit it off with new offensive coordinator Sean Mannion, and Jalen is as open as he has ever been to playing under center, with more play action. Jalen is open to changes on offense and working with Sean to evolve the offense. This report is according to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN. So you see it there. They're reporting that Sean Mannion and Jalen Hurts are already off to a great start. And if you're an Eagles fan like me and you are really pulling for Jalen Hurts to do well this season, and you believe and trust in him as being our QB1 for the future and that he can get us back to a championship game and all of that good stuff, this really shouldn't come as a surprise to you. It doesn't surprise me that Jalen Hurts is a coachable player and he's open to change. I mean, just look at his track record. You got former coaches coming back to come in and help him get reps in right now in the offseason. He was putting in work with Devontae Smith at Temple University a few weeks back with his former quarterback coach. So this whole idea that Jalen Hurts wasn't coachable was always nonsense to me. And I think this is something to really be excited about, because if they're going into this season on the same page, man, that really helps out when you're trying to implement a new system, especially when it's stuff that you aren't used to running or you're not accustomed to running. You need to be on the same page with your offensive coordinator. So things like running motion routes, having passes over the middle of the field, all of those things, it really helps to keep things flowing the right way, man. I just want to reiterate the fact that Jalen Hurts has never had a back-to-back offensive play caller 1 year as a starter. That's a big deal, man. And he's been able to get back to the championship game twice, winning one of those Super Bowls. So it's like he can adapt. He can make changes for the team. He wants to win. At the end of the day, his thing is winning any ways possible, any means necessary. He wants to win. That's his only goal. So I'm really thrilled about that. What I'm really hoping for this offense is that we get a healthy balance. You get a healthy amount of runs, you get a healthy amount of passing plays, and I also need it to be strategic, running the right plays at the right time. I think that was a really big problem with last year's offense as well, is not even necessarily the plays that were running. The plays weren't the best, right? But some of the plays that they ran, they were successful with the season before in the Super Bowl year. So I think it was execution, and then at the times in the game in which they would run those plays. Like in that second half versus Buffalo, why did we go empty and just do four reverse, and he had to force a throw to Devontae Smith? Now the ball went right through Devontae Smith on the hands on the sideline, but situational awareness, man. It was pouring down rain. Let's not throw a deep shot right there. How about we get the running game going, have some shorter routes, and then that's how you execute your offense. Yes, it is amazing that Jalen Hurts and Sean Mannion are gelling, and Jalen Hurts has embraced his new offensive coordinator. That's what you want to see from your $200 million quarterback, embracing change, open to running different things, whatever it's going to take to get this offense from looking so old and dinosaur-like, because that's what it looked like at times last year, like we just didn't know what the hell we were doing. So I'm really glad that they are bought all the way in, and they're going to attack this thing head on going into this new season. But even with all of that being said, man, I'm telling you, the strength of this Eagles team, everybody says, oh, well, you got Saquon Barkley. Well, before Saquon Barkley, it was Miles Sanders who had over 1,000 yards. And actually before Barkley, it was Swift who had 1,000 yards. Before Swift, it was Sanders. So, like, this team has had multiple 1,000-yard rushers, and that is because of a very key component to this team, the offensive line, man. Now, this is an older picture, I know, But outside of Mekhi Becton, who we know who has left, these guys are still here. You still got Lane Johnson. You still got Cam Jurgens. You still got Landon Dickerson. You still got Jordan Mailata. Tyler Steen will be where Mekhi Becton used to be for this team. Replace Mekhi Becton with Tyler Steen, and that's your offensive line for the next season, unless something is to happen at the guard spot and they have to change things up. These guys, man, were collectively like a shell of themselves last season. And I don't know why. You see people in the media, they talk about the Eagles and things that went wrong with the offense, and they always run to the whole A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts not being on the same page. A.J. Brown's not bought into the team. He gave up on them, especially in the playoff game. Those are the things that you're hearing. But nobody is talking about the fact that Landon Dickerson came into the season on one leg. Cam Jurgens' back was messed up, even dating back to last season. We lost Lane Johnson halfway through the season. Jordan Mailata, for whatever reason, just wasn't the same star tackle that he was the year before. And Tyler Steen, man, he's all right. Okay? He's all right. There's no way in hell that Cam Jurgens should have been a Pro Bowler. I don't know how he got in. The offensive line was a wreck last year. If the offensive line is able to rebound and get back to the status that it once was at, or even just better than last season, then I really expect this team to go far. But it really starts with what they do with that offensive line, man. That's been the strength of this team. That is the heart of this team, and it's been that way since I've been watching the Eagles play. If the offensive line is strong, you have a great chance of winning. You just do. That's how it is for the Eagles, man. All right, and the next thing we want to talk about finally, just for fun, is really interested to see where people are kind of guessing where the Eagles' scheduled games are going to be slotted for through those weeks 1 through 18 in the regular season. My camera cut off for some reason, but like I was saying, let's jump into that schedule, man. And here's what it is. Week 1, they got to start off versus the Colts just to get the season started. I think that's a great way to start if that truly is where the Eagles are going to be slotted. We will be playing against a backup quarterback because Daniel Jones tore his Achilles, and he still will be rehabbing and recovering from that. Then week 2, we got the Jags at 8:15 p.m. That's the first primetime game of the year. Then we got the 49ers in week 4 at 8:20. That's another primetime game. The Giants at 8:15, that Thursday night matchup. Cowboys at 8:15. Steelers at 8:15. Rams, we play America's game of the week. Then we play the Cowboys again in Philadelphia that time. And that's America's game of the week. Bye week 14. Now, don't know about y'all, but I have always preferred that the bye week is later in the season around that week 8 to 9 spot or week 14, how it says this mock has us slotted for. I absolutely hate when a bye week is week 5. I think it's way too early for any team to be going on a bye week in October, really. It's just like the season just started. Why are we taking a whole week off? We need that week for later in the year where we have guys that go out with injuries and they could use that week to recover and get their bodies right, or even that week 14 bye week, you use that to kind of get yourself rested, try to gain some more energy to go after a playoff run and compete for a Lombardi trophy, man. So Eagles, it says that we get a week 14 bye week. We'll find out what it really is sometime next week. I believe like Thursday or Friday is when a real thing comes out. And then our last big game of the year is, well, we got 2. The Bears are saying Christmas. That's what people are predicting, that Friday night game. I didn't like having to watch the Eagles on Friday last year. I don't like Friday night games, but that's just where the league is headed, man. Hell, we're going to be having games on Tuesday at some point. Then the next big game, Seattle Seahawks, game of the night, 8:20 p.m. slot. So as you see, the Eagles are featured heavily in this mock with a lot of primetime games. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if it turns out to be true because everybody's going to be watching the Eagles to see what this team looks like following the absence of A.J. Brown no longer being a part of the Eagles if this trade goes through with the Patriots. And I don't know, man. If I'm AJ, I'm chilling out. This whole Diana Rossini, Mike Vrabel situation, it's getting messy. Like, Vrabel might very well have to step down from head coach. And I don't really know if you want to go into turmoil like that. Like, they're going to lose their head coach before training camp starts. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. So with that being said, man, that is the video for today. Just a little video. I want to talk about the whole Sean Mannion and Jalen Hurts connection. And then just to kind of give you guys an idea of what the Eagles schedule could be like. With that being said, man, please comment down below. Like the video, subscribe. With that, the Eagles rant with Quest 64. Y'all have a good night.